Good morning to you. Mark Sudduth, HurricaneTrack here. Now Tuesday, the 9th of July, 2024. Got a pretty important update for you here today. This one's going to be kind of hard-hitting and might not sit well with some people, but I don't care. I care more about making sure that people are at least aware that we have a season in front of us still that is going to be very unpleasant, and I think we're not ready. And we just need to look at Beryl as a great example of that statement of mine. So first, we're going to take a look at the current situation with Beryl, make sure you're up to date on that. And then I'm going to deliver some bad news to you and sort of set the stage for what's coming and kind of my thoughts on it. You know, I did this in 2005. I didn't have video updates like we do now back then, but I had a blog over at HurricaneTrack.com where you had to put all of this in like hundreds and hundreds of words. It took a lot more effort back then. And I and many other people, it's not just me, we were right. And it was actually in a book. Somebody had cited what I warned about. I think it was about this time of the year in 2005. Jim Reed, a famous storm photographer, he has a book called Storm Chaser, and he even mentions in that book my warning to people in 2005. And, you know, we saw what happened. So it's time to talk serious, all right? We're not bleeping around anymore. This is not, all right, we'll get to it. First of all, let's talk about Beryl. I feel like I'm getting ready to sit down with my kids and deliver a stark warning about their behavior. So Beryl, post-tropical now, it's a depression, generated over 35 ACE points. I'll show you that in a moment. Very destructive across the Caribbean and now in Texas. And it was, quote, just a Category 1. We still have to watch this over the next few days because of the flood potential, because of the severe weather potential. This is what it looks like on the satellite today. Doesn't look like much, but there's a lot of energy there, a lot of spin in the atmosphere, a lot of instability. So this could still be a big flooding problem and a huge tornado threat overall. And I can show you that here on the Storm Prediction Center website. This is today, not a very large area, but that doesn't matter. It could affect people in that area with tornadoes that are quick moving, quick developing, could be violent. You know, I mean, any tornado to me is violent if it hits me. And the threat, fairly substantial for July there. So if you live anywhere in this green area, honestly, you need to be paying attention very closely, looking at your apps on your phone that tracks this kind of stuff, get alerts, make sure your EAS messages come through, and, you know, don't mute that stuff. Keep it available because these tornadoes can be nasty. We saw Louisiana. Wait till I show you this graphic actually in just a minute. Ridiculous amount of tornadoes yesterday, warnings. You know, they'll go out and verify what hit the ground and what was, you know, a false alarm, so to speak. But this is today, and then this is tomorrow. It's not over. We still have tomorrow to get through because all of that energy after this has made landfall down here will work its way up. And again, you got all that spin in the atmosphere. The ingredients are in place for lots and lots of tornadoes. This is going to really jack up the tornado count for 2024. And tomorrow, 5% across this region up here. That's not zero, and if it hits you, it's a big deal. All right, time to be very serious here and have sort of that sit down, close the door, let's talk kind of deal. And you know what? I'll just preface this real quick. Dismiss what I'm saying. That's fine. Call me fear-mongering, you know, hyping it up, whatever. I don't care. I care about people being ready. People commenting negatively or whatever. You know, it's interesting. It bothers me because it's not hurting my ego. I feel like I'm failing as an educator or the system is failing, and it's just frustrating. As a social scientist and as a geographer, because that's what my degree is in, I study meteorology, I study statistics, and I study the social side of how hurricanes impact people. And when we get all this blowback of people thinking that they know more than those of us that have done this for 30 years, it is frustrating. But, you know, what can you do? You keep moving forward and try to get through to the people who are willing to open these right here and then this, your mind, and just listen. So let's take a look here at what's going on. This is Matt down in Southwest Florida, and chief meteorologist at WINC. My good friend Dylan Federico worked under Matt for a few years there. So here we go. A mistake I sometimes see people make is unfortunately minimizing or downplaying what a Category 1 hurricane can do. Example below. Beryl proved just how impactful and even deadly they can be. So people were saying early on, 80 miles per hour, that's nothing, all will be good, more like a tropical storm. Literally, they're freaking out over nothing, fix their power grids and they'll be fine. All right, well, so far, we've had 7 people die in the Houston area. All of them could have been prevented. All of them, 100%. And so those are 7 funerals that are going to happen. And let me just keep showing you. Let's just keep moving on, shall we? So this is the aftermath. And I know people are going to say, dude, it floods here even when it rains a few inches. Well, I get that, but people still drive in it. We're not making any progress. We're not making any progress from 2008 on because people are still driving into floodwaters. They're still dying, and that number needs to be 0. This is ridiculous. We're not learning. We have the power of instant information that's helpful in our hands, and we're still screwing up. Look at how many people are still without power in Texas. 2.2 million. That's a lot of people without power. And it's hot down here. It's not about, I can't access my Instagram and my creature comforts. It is people that are in a situation with it being so hot and humid that it could affect them. We could lose our fellow Americans from heat because of the power outages. It's not about being in a first world country and having all these wonderful things at our fingertips and now they're gone. No, this becomes dangerous. Louisiana, 16,000. That's enough. 16,000 people. No power. 12,000 in Arkansas. I think that's pretty impactful, for just a Category 1. And look at this. Mind-blowing. It is. This is unbelievable. Those are all the tornado warnings just through when this graphic was made yesterday. And it's one of the most prolific and significant tropical cyclone-induced tornado outbreaks in U.S. history. All right? And we've been tracking this stuff a long time, and ever since we could, and that is just remarkable. And again, I'm going to bring this to the point. This was just a Category 1, just an 80-mile-an-hour hurricane. Look at what it did. This was not a well-organized Katrina or Ian or Idalia last year or Carla 1961 or God forbid the 1900 hurricane, which we had no satellite, no recon data, obviously. And yet look at what all of this did. I mean, just look at the evidence. This is not fear-mongering. This is not hype. This is the proof that we are not ready for what is coming. And what is coming? Well, let's just take a look. First, we have already generated, and this was yesterday, more ACE than any other time so far in a hurricane season. And I'm going to just address one more thing, and I'll be very brief. For the people that like to dismiss stats and say, well, we didn't know about stuff 300 years ago, or the earth is 4 billion years old, get out of here. Come on, we know that. That is like a memo from the Department of the Obvious. Stop saying it, you're wasting your time. We know this kind of stuff. Come on, give me a break. So yes, since we have been tracking, all right, we'll make it real simple. I guess you got to qualify everything these days. This is the fastest an Atlantic hurricane season has reached 30 ACE on record. And we've been keeping up with this stuff for a long enough period of time in modern records that this means something. The prior record was 1933, which gave us the single largest ACE season on record. ACE is accumulated cyclone energy, and that is the quality of hurricanes and tropical storms, mainly hurricanes. And from a meteorological perspective only, the quality of Hurricane Beryl was record-setting. Something's falling apart out there at the hotel here. So these are the clues. Back to what I said over here in my headline. I'm going to outline it in red. We are not ready. Of course, I put a contraction there. I think I tweeted something a few minutes ago that said we are not ready. We're not ready. And this is all the proof you need. And this is the part where you need to really pay attention. And again, ignore me, name call me. I don't care. I don't care. I care about the people who take this in and take action. Colorado State University has increased forecast for an extremely active 2024 season, 25 named storms total, including the 3 we've already had, 12 hurricanes, so we have 11 to go. And this is the number right here that, you know what, people say fear-mongering, whatever. You need to be afraid of this. 6 major hurricanes. Major hurricanes are scary. They are something to be afraid of if you're not prepared. All right? And this is absolutely like the highest forecast that has ever been put out by this agency. It is incredible. Look at the overall numbers here. Let me drop me out here and show you what this, this thing to work, this all means. So 25, we've already had 3. Named storm days, hurricanes 12, we got 11 to go, 6 majors. And the ACE count west of 60 degrees longitude, 140. We've already had 35 or so, or 30, whatever. I mean, Beryl started pretty far east. Basically, we have more than a regular hurricane season because the normal ACE is 123. And we have a little over 100 to go west of 60. That means a lot of energy is going to be expended where we live. You understand that? And the overall ACE for the year, 230. And that could certainly be higher. We don't know. It could be 300. It could be 200. We're already breaking records. So the biggest thing here that I'm sure he is citing would be the sea surface temperature anomalies and the I'm sure the site is just slammed. So I'm just going to show you. It's got to be all of this through here, the very warm sea surface temperature anomalies. And it's interesting, some people have pointed out on places like Storm 2K and elsewhere that the Canary Current, which actually comes over here, we have sort of certainly lost that heat over in the far eastern side. But it's interesting to me that the warmest anomalies have now shifted west. And so we might not have as much forming right off Africa, that they wait just a little bit longer. And this is concerning as well because we're not seeing it as warm closer to Africa. So that might delay development by a day or two, and then everything is farther to the west when it does get going. And then we have all of this area in here in peril, and certainly beyond that. And we don't really have that strong La Nina that was looking likely. And I don't want to say it was necessarily going to be strong, but just the fact that we do not have El Nino, there's no El Nino here. We're in cool neutral, and the Atlantic is way warmer than it should be, sets the stage for a very, very busy season. The Gulf of Mexico, I mean, look at all those 30 degrees Celsius temperatures, 31 surrounding Louisiana, the Central Gulf Coast, 31 Celsius closer to the Florida Peninsula there. So we're talking mid to upper 80s. These charts will update. They're always a day behind, and we'll see some changes there because of what Beryl did. But it's only July 9th. And if we have a few weeks of a lull, the sun is still absolutely just inputting energy into these oceans of ours, and all of these anomalies, or anything that Beryl did, will quickly be erased in terms of taking energy out, and we will be right back to where we were when we started. And off the Atlantic coast, very, very warm as well. These are actual temperatures, low to mid 80s in some areas, depending on where you are. And it's coming. We just need to look at this and say, okay, this is problematic. We need to be ready. And just a couple more points that I want to make. When you deal with hurricanes, you need to understand the total package. The human fixation on categories and putting things on shelves or boxes or slots, whatever the organizational need is in our so-called advanced brains, can work against us. Because if something doesn't fit some kind of preconceived line, if it doesn't fit some threshold, or above that threshold, we don't act. And we do it with everything we do, with our health, how we eat. I got to eat better. How we exercise, what we consume, whether it's recreational drugs to whatever, right? The stuff that harms us personally, to how we drive. I'll go 79 and a 70. That's fine. What's that line? What's that threshold? Different danger levels that we look at. But when it comes to hurricanes, the one thing that people lack that could help them is experience. Lots and lots of posts that I've been seeing from real Texans. Okay? Texas is a tough state. It is. Texas, they say don't mess with Texas, right? And I've seen the posts of people that stayed at Surfside Beach and Surfside itself, and they were like, never again. That was not a Category 1. They saw. They found out. You know that expression, right? We won't say it because try to stay family oriented here. They found out. And because Beryl didn't meet their threshold. They didn't understand because they didn't have that experience. So that's where I come in. That's where other people that do this kind of work on social media and on television come in. We are not trying to scare people for more views, more subscribers, and more money. I do this. Look, if I won the lottery, even the small lottery, like when it resets and it's like 15 million or whatever, and I get 8, I would still do this. I don't care. It's a great thing that I do this for my job, but I've been on YouTube since 2006, and I still don't even have 50,000 subscribers, so whatever. I still earn a good living doing this because I am helping people to at least be informed. And you've got to take responsibility from this point on. We, in this community, the scientific community and the social sciences too, have given you what you need to know. Now you need to do something with it. We have seen the proof from Beryl. This is a very, very bad sign. It is. It's indisputable. Now we could get to November and be completely wrong that nothing else happens this entire season. But are you willing to bet your life and your livelihood and that of your family and your friends or your business that we are all full of crap? Hey, it's up to you. If you want to say, yep, they're full of crap, go right ahead. That's on you at this point because we have given you the information to take action, and it's up to you. Can't hold your hand through all this. We got to just, you got to do something. All right? So yes, Beryl is a sign. No, we're not ready, but maybe we can be. There is hope. All right? So on that positive note, hey, look, sometimes you have to be very straight up with people. We're not messing around here. So on that note, I appreciate you tuning in. I appreciate all the people that do watch my stuff on Twitter, on YouTube, our patrons, people that I meet out in the real world. We are making a difference, and I appreciate you telling me that. Have a great rest of your Tuesday. Hopefully I'll have some more positive stuff for you tomorrow before I fly back home and face the rest of the hurricane season with you guys as well. All right? Have a good rest of your Tuesday. I'm Mark Setta. Thanks for watching. I'll see you tomorrow.